Afternoon, guys, girls. Well, I seem to have a bit of a spate of paying jobs coming to the workshop at the moment. I'd much rather be fixing motherboards and things like that, but customer came and brought me this in today. I actually went out to this guy yesterday and fixed his satellite dish problem with the cabling, and he said, "Oh, I've got another receiver," and we said it's got a broken HDMI connector. Can you fix it? I said, yeah, well, sure, why not, you know. I said, it'll cost you like 35–40 euros. He said, no, that's okay. So this morning he popped into the workshop with the satellite receiver. I plugged it in. It's very difficult on the camera to show you what I was seeing on I have a portable TV up here and what I was seeing on the screen. Just finding a way of doing that. I actually just effectively made a quick video. So I guess you can see this. So I connected the HDMI cable, and can you see that? I'm getting like a red flickering image, like so. So okay, yeah, you're right. HDMI is a problem, but is it the HDMI port? So on the back of this receiver here, as well as SCART, HDMI, you've got the composite video, red, yellow and white. Couldn't lay my hands on the SCART lid. I've got them around the place somewhere, but I couldn't lay my hands on one. So I connected the yellow with red and white to the little TV, and then I tried again, and now basically I get a good picture. So, yeah, for sure, he's right. There's a problem with HDMI port. So, according to that, let's see if we can actually fix this. I mean, the port, if you look here, it looks, I don't know, well, you can see that, but this seems to have been like pushed in at one end here. It's not quite straight, but the middle part of the connector looks okay. I've replaced HDMIs before. I mean, okay, this is a satellite receiver. This guy's a German guy living over here. I guess it's not easy for him to just grab another receiver since we're in the Canary Islands. So you find a lot of this. People here want stuff fixing that perhaps elsewhere they wouldn't. But I mean, what I'm going to show you now, this is, you know, not just for receiver. You can do this on PlayStations. I've had a few PlayStations with faulty HDMI connectors. Game consoles seem to have a hard life. Sometimes falling off the one I had, one that fell off the end of the bed, landed on the HDMI lid and sort of broke the connector, pushed it inwards. So I've fixed a few before. So it doesn't really matter the fact that it's on that this is a satellite receiver. What we're going to do now is just as relevant for other devices with HDMI. So the first thing we need to do is get into this, which straight away is not making it easy. These screws, you probably can't see what I'm doing, but these screws here seem to be a bit difficult to actually work on. They're spinning around but nothing's happening, so I'm just trying to get the edge of this desoldering tool, little knife thing, under the edge of there, and if I can just force it upwards, there we go. I should be able to get that out now. These things are dead useful, by the way. They come like in a set of 5 or 6 with different ends on. Grab yourself some of these. They're excellent, not just for soldering, but as you can see, even for little things like this. Yeah, I mean, you could use a flat blade screwdriver, but I just grab this, it's easy, and then I just get this one to actually come out. So basically I'm getting you probably can't see that, I'm getting the edge of the blade underneath the edge of the screw to force it upwards as I turn it, because it was just spinning round. Okay, that's that one out. Yeah, there's going to be some more on the side. There's going to be a few more here to each side, so I'll just continue to unscrew these if they actually want to come. Then we can have a look inside this thing and see what we have. I keep a few spare HDMI connectors here. Whether this one's physically broken or just basically is come away from the board. I don't know. HDMI connectors generally come as either through hole or like surface mount types. In my experience, I found that the through hole ones harder to desolder but easier to resolder, and the surface mount easier to unsolder and harder to resolder. So it's kind of like 6 of one and half dozen the other as to which is the easiest to work on. I've no idea what's in this, but we should find out quite shortly once we can actually get inside it. Switch the power off, by the way. I've got it switched on at the moment. And while we're at it, unplug it as well. So just this one now, still troublesome screw. I don't know what's the problem with this. It's like they're like little self-tapping screws, and for some reason they just spin round but don't actually come out. Not quite sure what's causing that to happen. But again, let's see if we can just get this under here, put a little bit of upwards pressure, and then try and unscrew it. Sorry guys, it's very difficult to do this while it's in the view of the camera. Can we even turn that one? Yeah, it's turning. Ah, that's coming as well. So, same technique as worked for the other ones. Work for this one. Right. That's almost out. Once you get them started, they seem to come out okay. Yeah. Okay. What do we do with the screws? We put them in a little plastic tub. Yeah. You know this by now, don't you? Stick them in a little plastic tub. Right. We're in. So the HDMI is down under here. I can see straight away it's a surface mount one. Easy to remove, not so easy to fit the new one. So now we need to get down to that to have a look to see if we can do anything. Well, this is obviously a PVR. It's got a SATA connector here for a hard drive. Yeah, we can, there's your SATA power cable. No hard drive in it. So this is going to have to come off. Okay, that was out of the way. I think you have to bear with me. It's uncomfortably warm in the workshop this afternoon. What's the temperature in here? 29.1 degrees. That's the ambient temperature in the workshop. So just give me a minute. I'm just going to put the air conditioning on. That should help give it 5 minutes. I mean, bear in mind it's the what, 5th of April, 6th of April today. It's not even summer. Well, not as you have a summer. I mean, we only have 2 seasons really. We have warm and hot. So hot runs from March to end of October. November can be pretty hot, and then like warm as like December, January, February. And that's basically what we get here, 2 seasons. Little bit of rain in February, but it's only like 5 or 6 inches a year where I am now. A bit less further down towards the southwest. Okay, so we're getting there. We'll lose one. Yep, off that one comes. Not a lot in this, is there really? Obviously, switch mode power supply, input capacitor. Well, you've seen these things before. Coils to like remove any spikes. Down there is the thermistor. If you remember the video we did on the disco light with the blown thermistor. Big smoothing capacitor. This chip, bridge rectifier. This chip generates, powers the primary, the transformer. This has 2 transformers. Yeah, I don't see an opto isolator on this one, so probably that's the feedback, and they're using another little transformer instead of opto isolator. The other possibility is that this is a little, there's a little control. I bet this is a little this here, this controller and this little transformer. That's the standby. So when it's in standby, just this little power supply is running, and when you switch it on, this big one's running. So there will be an opto isolator. Yeah, I can see it now. The opto isolators tucked under here. You see this quite often. TVs, videos, that sort of thing. ATX power supplies. You see this. So you have a small transformer with a controller chip that powers up the standby voltage to here, and when you switch on, it powers up the big one. And here you'll see rectifiers. This will be the one for the standby. These down here will be the ones for the main output, and possibly a voltage regulator here. And then all your capacitors here are for smoothing, and output comes from there. So that's what that is. Not a lot on this. Voltage regulator almost certainly. This chip is probably controlling the tuner. This one is probably reading the smart card, and this is your GPU, your APU, your processor. That's probably about all we have in here. And we can see, I can see what's wrong with this HDMI now. This is your HDMI. I can see what's wrong with this. This is your smart card reader. Inside here is a German satellite. So that's what he uses this for. CAM, conditional access module, DETO encryption, smart card. So this is the decoding module. This is his subscription card. Yeah. Obviously you can see why he needs this working. Okay. This just goes into the front panel. That one's out. This is your power coming in. That one's out. Tagged it on here just to keep it tidy, so we'll untidy that a little bit. And go. This is optical audio out. A few more screws holding this in yet. Yeah, and we'll be in the back. So screws here, here. We'll be holding this on. One moment. Sorry about that, guys. That's another job. Some of these, they've had some builders on the roof and knocked the satellite dish out of line. And also his Sport TV is due for renewal for 6 months more subscription. So yeah, with a little paying job there. Normally there's quite a lot of work here. It's just with this stupid pandemic we've had. I mean, there's businesses here that shut in mid-March last year. They've never opened since. I mean, even in Puerto Rico, the town, not the island, Puerto Rico, Gran Canaria, would you believe our McDonald's in the middle of town shut in the lockdown around the 10th of March, and it's never reopened. Never reopened. I'm guessing until things pick up here. These places are going to be shut. I know hotels where I have maintenance contracts to do all their 110 room apartment blocks, and I have the maintenance contract for all their TVs. Again, they shut last March, so 13 months on, they're still not open, and so on. That's the problem we're having, really. And it seems to be getting worse. I mean, some places they open, and after 4 weeks they just close again because there's no business. I mean, don't get me wrong, some places are doing okay. There's few bars that are doing well, but there's more that are not than there are the ones that are. Okay, so how do we get this out of here? What's holding this in place? Let's have a look. That's loose now. I've undone those. I've unfastened these. There's two more screws holding this in. Are there? No, they're holding the back part. I don't know. I can see under here. Yeah. Oh. One of them's under here and I can get to it, but the other one's actually, I'm not even sure I can get to that. So it's under this metal. I think we can probably now just take this back panel off altogether and see if that helps us any. They obviously did not want people getting into this. That's just in there. I don't understand what's holding this on now. Oh, okay. Even more screws. Even more screws. That one. Oh, there's one we missed earlier. That's why you should always put them in a plastic tub to start off with. That one. And the tub. Right, so that's off. Yes, we unplugged and we switched off. So we can disconnect that. And then we can have a look to see how we get to the invisible, not so invisible, there it is, like. One here. And the last one is, that helps, doesn't it? This unplugs, so the tuner we just unplug. Shall we make sure it has the right number of pins for the holes? Yes, it does. That can go. And then we have one more screw here. And finally, it's still held on by the card reader, which is held in place by two more screws. Well, I can't find my little everything should have a home in the workshop. Otherwise you can't find stuff when you need it. There's one there. Tiny little thing. Another one here. Now we're getting somewhere. One more cable. There we go. And we're off. At last. Eventually. So we don't need this just for now. I can go under the bench out the way. So let's see what we have. Let's grab the microscope. Let's grab the microscope. Okay. Focus that. Okay. What do we have? So, one broken HDMI connector. There you go. Can you see that? So effectively, something's pushed in. That's why I said one end of this looked like it was too far in compared to the other end. So it's been pushed into, although it's fell off something and landed and broke some of the connections under here. So if we can just get a bit of a focus on that, there we go. So that's what's broken. While we're on here, let's have a just quick nosy. What can we recognise? Well, over here, see what these are? Buck regulators, coil, controller chip. There's another coil here, small one. I think we can confidently say that that's the coil. This is the controller chip, 5 pin off and all. Another coil, another controller chip. So these will be powering the whole thing really. That's your power rails. This one might be to do with the SCART. I mean, I could look up the data sheet, but there's no need. We're not really interested in that. This is what we're interested in. So we need to get that off. That's going to be fun, isn't it? Sorry, just have to take a little drink there. Okay, that probably sounded right funny on the microphone. We need to get this off here. There's a surface mount one, so we're going to use hot air on this. We're going to use hot air. But the first thing we need to do is we need to free up like the metal frame. Yeah, so you can see the metal frame for the HDMI connector comes through here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to unsolder that first before we can get this off. So let's switch on some kit. I'm going to use the electric vacuum desolder for this. It's just so much easier. You can actually do these just by hot air and heating up the entire area. But what worries me about this one is the fact it's very close to this here. You've got plastic, and we've got more plastic here. It may even be a good idea actually to unsolder all this. I think I will actually, because it's not going to be difficult to unsolder it, and it's going to make it much easier to get to here. So yeah, let's take that off as well. Looking at it, this has 3 connections, this has 3 connections, this has 3 connections, and then the front ones will be the same. 1, 2, 3. I'll see the 1, 2, 3 of those. Oh no, maybe they're not. Yeah, the 3 connections, but they're not. You've got one sorry. These 3 connections. You've got probably that's ground, and then this one and that one will go to the top and bottom socket. Yeah, ground, top and bottom, ground, top and bottom. So there's only 9 connections on the whole thing. Let's go back over to the bench cam, because it's going to be easier to unsolder this on the bench cam. If you give me 1 moment. Okay. Put the microscope out of the way. Let's drop this down a bit so we can see what we have. So yeah, we're going to unsolder this first, so we have more space to get in here to unsolder that one, and the same, we can resolder that one and put this one back in. So easiest way to do this one, get a bit of water. I've just switched the soldering iron on, a bit of water just to wet the sponge. Yeah. Bit of water in there. A little bit of kitchen roll just to mop up where I've just spilt it on the desk. Yeah. Right. Best way to do this is add some leaded solder first. So a bit of flux on all of them. Flux always helps. Yeah, a bit of flux on all of them. And let's just again BC3 tip, nice big chunky one. Let's just add a bit of solder to all these. Okay, so that's added some leaded solders for each one, which effectively will form an alloy with the lead-free solder and produce an alloy that has a lower melting point. Okay, so that's that done. Next one, just try and remove from here some of the excess solder that we've now made an alloy, yeah? If you find your solder blades not exactly working very well, just put a bit of flux on it again. Bit of flux on there, and that should help a lot. Yeah, so see how that came off much easier. So that's that one. That one. That one. That one. Just do these last ones. Okay, so that's removed a lot of the excess solder. Let's see if we can get us off with the desoldering gun. That's this thing, yeah? But to make it easy, first of all, let's just get the hot air and just gently warm around the area first, yeah? I'm just kind of preheating the area a little bit. Okay. Desoldering gun. Hold it for a few seconds. Yeah, that's come clean. If you don't have one of these, a good way to actually remove this is just to warm the whole lot up with hot air. Clamp this in a vise or something, yeah? Hot air, then just literally pull the whole thing out from below. But this is just makes so much easier. If you're seriously doing this to make yourself pocket money, yeah? After your first 2 or 3 repairs, or you've bought something, sold something, when you've made some money, buy one of these, yeah? They're about 70 to 90 pounds, they seem to vary. It's getting a bit more difficult. This is getting difficult because it's cooling down again. So once again, just get a bit heated to the whole area, yeah? This one that didn't come out clean, add a bit more solder, yeah? Now, only hold it for a few seconds. It's out clean. I think this one, just a little bit more solder. That one might not have come. They've been a little bit stubborn, these are. So, first thing we'll do is just make sure that the tool hasn't clogged up, yeah? So, it is clogged up. That's why these are not coming out. I think the damn thing's got clogged. sometimes in this case you have to switch it off and dismantle it. Well, let's just see if we can actually push this through. Yeah. To stop that happening, it's quite important that when you finish using the thing, you just suck some air through before you switch it off to cool down. Now it's working. Waggle it backwards and forwards a little bit helps to break the seal of the solder on the pin. This one's proving tricky. It's coming. I think it's out. Yeah, that looks good. Let's see if this is actually now desoldered. Not quite. Okay. Well, let's go with plan B then. It's mostly desoldered now. It's just not cleanly out of there. I can waggle it around a little bit. Sometimes that'll just do the job. I can see the back ones are all moving. We could have a look with a microscope and see which ones are not, if actually not broken the joints. But let's have a look. That one's free. That one's free. That one isn't. That one's free. That one isn't. That one is. Okay. It's not one. Start again. So I'm just testing. That one's free. That one moves. That one moves. This one doesn't. Some of them haven't quite unsoldered. Let's go with a plan. We're on B or C now. Let's try and do it a slightly different way, which is basically heat up the entire area and just pull this out. Okay. It's going to get a bit warm to do that, so probably I need to use like a cloth, something like that. And I need to now get the whole area enough to melt the remnants of this bits of solder. Yeah. And once I think I've got it, I'm going to try and pull the thing clean out. We might be getting close now. I think that's fairly close. Let's have a look. Drop that. Let's see if we can actually. Yeah, there, see? Nice and clean. And hot. Rather hot. Okay, so look, listen, look, there you are, guys. That came out of there. Yep. And the board is good. No lifted pads, no ripped traces. Yeah, that's good. We want to just let's see. Yeah, they're all clean. I'm looking through the hole. I'm looking through the holes. So that's cooled down. This is still a bit warm. They all look pretty clean. So hopefully we won't have a problem putting that back on. If we do, we can just clear the holes a bit more. What they say, once you finish using this, pull some air through it. That'll stop it clogging up. In fact, better still, put the needle through it as well. Yeah. Look after your tools, keep them, and they'll look after you. Okay, so here's our HDMI connector. Our troublesome HDMI connector. Get rid of some of this crap off the desk. That and the tub of bits, because we need it later. So, got to desolder this one. Again, first thing with this one I would do is warm the area up a little bit. Bit of flux. Add a bit of leaded solder to each one. Now the metal frame of this HDMI connector is fixed. Is attached to the ground plane, which perfectly runs through all this board. So you're going to get quite a lot of heat into this to do anything with it. So what I would normally try now is to use the desoldering gun and the hot air at the same time. So hot air, left hand, yeah. Desoldering gun. Gun on the pin. Hot air. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's clean. Same with the next one. Hot air. That one's probably clean. Next one. Okay. You'd be surprised how much heat you need to get in some of these things to do these jobs, and that's a very good way of doing that. Okay, so let's have a look what we have here on the back of this connector. It looks like the actual plastic inside is kind of pushed backwards over the pins. I've seen this before. So really we need to see if we can push this plastic back into place. It's kind of like broken away and tried to come through the back of the connector. The whole thing has like it's had some sort of quite solid impact. So what we'll try and do is push this forwards again if we can. Yeah, can you see this on the camera? Can you see now? You can actually see the pins. Yeah, moment. Microscope. Yeah, you can see there now, can't you? That you can actually see the soldered pins down here, where previously we couldn't see them because this had pushed backwards, and we needed to push that back forwards again so we can actually get access to all the pins. So you get a bit of focus on that for you. There you go. Better, isn't it? Yeah. So this whole metal frame and this plastic insert here had come back out of the connector. So it's not straight, but at least it's out of the way now. So what we need to do is unsolder this. I'm going to do this with hot air, but first I'm going to add some flux, of course. Flux on there, yeah. Then I'm going to add some leaded solder again, just to see if it'll help the desoldering. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to like brush the whole thing across there. I'm not worried about shorting pins out at the moment. All I want to do is get a nice amount of solder on the pins, yeah? Leaded solder. That's good. It's mostly everywhere now. If I get it everywhere, even better. So let's Bit of flux in there and there. Let's see if we can actually get that to go so it's on all of the pins. Okay. Yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at that, baby. So we now have a nice massive solder on there, and it's leaded solder, which reduces the melting point of the alloy. So that's going to help a lot in unsoldering this part. On the other side, can we get a focus on this? Yeah, there you go. You see I've managed to remove the solder from this one, and I've removed a fair bit of solder from the other ones, yeah? So what we're going to do is with this, we're going to get some Kapton tape. This is the heat resistant sellotape, basically. Just get hold of that. And we'll stick this just over these components here, yeah? Just to stop anything falling off the board. You'd be surprised, actually, or maybe you wouldn't, because you know this, but the solder has quite it's like quite viscous when it's hot. It has a strong surface tension, yeah, and it actually holds the components in place very well. So it's not that common that you're going to move components you don't want to move. But okay, a little bit of tape on there. That won't hurt at all. Okay. And same on this side. There's where are we? There's a few little capacitors down here. Something here maybe. I've got flux right now. We're gonna put a bit of tape over there as well. Again, just to cover over those components, yeah. And now we're going to unsolder this. So as I said, we have a nice big blob of solder across all the pins there. A little bit more flux again. Never do any harm. Let's go back over to the other camera again. What have I done? What have I done? I left a right mess on my desk again. Tidy up. It's so much better to work on a clean, tidy area than having all this stuff over the place, yeah, when you don't need it. We might need that one. Don't need the other ones right now. May need this one. Kapton tape we don't need anymore. Desolder braid you don't need anymore. Solder we don't need it at the moment. The metal bracket off the receiver can go well out of the way. The back panel off the receiver cable well out of the way. Right, we have a bit of space now. One moment. Right guys, I just needed just to finish my drink there. Might just go back the way. Soldering iron out the way. Okay. So the best way to unsolder this, in my opinion, preheater. Yeah, talked about this thing before. Let's put this at an angle so I can actually work. You'll see why it's at this angle in a little bit. Preheater, yeah. And this is where the hot air comes up. I'm going to set this on top of the preheater. And it's falling over. So we're going to put something just under the front here just to keep it in place. What we have, we must have something that you can get under there. Yeah. Do the job, won't it? Yeah. Okay. Preheater. And we're gonna and let's get a thermocouple. When you've done this for a while, you'll sort of get a feeling for this stuff, and you won't really need to use the thermocouple because from experience you know when it's basically when it's hot enough. But when you're beginning, honestly, buy yourself a couple of these. It costs you less than €10, and they're fantastic little things to have around the workshop. They really are. Thermocouple there, yeah, so we can see. Heat it on. And heating on. And we're going to warm that up. And we're going to warm this up till it's about 100, give or take, somewhere in that region. Just turn the preheater up a little bit. Of course, I've lost a little thing that was wedging underneath it. Can you do this without the preheater? Yeah. Is it better to use it? Yeah, definitely. Makes it much easier. If you've got like a cheapo hot air station, you may well struggle to do this without a preheater. Yeah, with the quick, it'll do it. But I just want to try and show you guys the best way of doing things. So I'll just turn this up a little bit more again. There's no temperature setting on this preheater, it's just like a knob that says it goes between 120 and 380, but I mean at the moment it's set to 250 roughly, so you can see that the setting of that doesn't really bear any resemblance to what's actually on the board. Okay, it's getting there now, isn't it? It's getting up there, getting close to that 100 which we said we were going to be looking for. Because I now realise I've got the bloody hot air station under the wire. Okay, we're up there about 100, yeah. So we're going to get the hot air here. We're going to try literally to lift this socket straight off the board. Watch this. It's going to fall over when I move this. Let's have a go. Let's have a go. No, we've managed. So now we're going to get a lot of heat into the connector, yeah. I need to warm the metalwork up to such a point. I can see the solder's melting, all the solder I put on the pins, that's now liquid. And we're going to try to... There. You see? You see how easy that was? Hot air gone. Preheater set switch to cool. One connector off. I can see now the board's in good condition. We haven't ripped any pads. And we let it cool down. In the meantime, let's see if we've got. Well, first of all, let's cool this thing off a little bit. On the water pad on the soldering iron there, just to cool it off a bit there. And let's see what we've got in the way of HDMI connectors in the workshop. Okay, I need to take a headset off. One moment, guys. Push that out of the way a bit. See, it's coming down temperature. So here we have some HDMI connectors, and what we need to do is find one that will effectively match this. Is this cold now? Yeah, it's cold. Cool. So let's have a look. First of all, is it the right way up? Yeah, because some of these are the other way, and when the other way it's wires backwards, and it doesn't work. I've done it, it didn't work. This appears to be, yeah, that appears to be one of those. Yeah. These are PlayStation 2. I think these are the ones that are the wrong way round. I sometimes, if I've got old TV boards, anything like this, scrap, I take them off first. No, they're the same way. Okay. Oh no, look, there's one that's up. There's one that's upside down. See? The legs are sticking out at the bottom, and it's the other way up. Okay, this is the one we want. So that's no use. There's another upside down one. This one's the right way up. This is obviously, oh, that's the faulty one with a bit of sticky stuff on. That's the new one. Good job that's on there, otherwise I would have mixed these up and not known which was which. Okay, so we have a nice replacement, yeah. Come down quite nicely now, so this should be easy to pick up. Right away. Okay. Don't need the thermocouple anymore. Take all this stuff off now. There's caps on tape. Watch when you buy this stuff. Be careful. If you buy this stuff off eBay, as soon as you get it, just cut it an inch off and warm it up underneath your hot air. Yeah. If it's genuine capped on tape, then nothing will really happen. Yeah. If I get this and I stick this on here, well, it blew it away, but it didn't really do anything else. Yeah. Right. Where's the rubbish that I was sold on eBay? This stuff. Yeah. This looks like capped on tape as well, doesn't it? But it ain't. This is some shit from eBay. First of all, it kind of looks a little bit different. It's a bit more cloudy. This is a bit more transparent. I don't know if you'll see that well on the camera, but watch this. This is what the rubbishy stuff does. You get the end of it. Yeah. Right. This is what the shit does. It all wrinkles up. Yeah? It's not bloody heat resistant like it should be. See that? Yeah? So the first thing you need to do when you buy capped on tape is that if it shrivels up like that, it's shit. It's no use at all. Send it back or demand a refund, okay? And even if you do get a refund, it's still shit. It's not even worth having, really. I was caught out once, I'll never be caught out again with that one. Okay. New connector. That we don't need. Our board. Let's have a look at this under the microscope now. Let's have a look to see how that desoldering job went on the HDMI connector, yeah? There. That's how desoldering work. Looks like some of the pads. You see all those pads like off at a strange angle? I'm convinced that was when the bloody thing was broke. You know, when it was actually broken in the first place. It's been pushed inwards. It looks like it's actually damaged the pads. That's going to be fun. That is going to be fun to try and fix that. But let's have a look. See what we can do. Can we fix it? Right now on this one? Maybe. Maybe. Flux is our friend. Yeah. Desolder braid. Let's get rid of the excess solder from here. And then let's see what we've got. Quite a lot of excess solder because I put a whole load on there, if you remember, to start off with. Notice I'm not dragging this across the pins, especially and the condition they appear to be in. I'm just touching against the pins to see if this is something that's we can salvage here. I don't want to damage them any more than they are. I might kind of like drag that way, yeah. I certainly ain't going to be dragging across them. Okay. We can see what's wrong with this, can't we? Try and clean a bit of stuff off that and see if that helps. You know, when you get jobs like this, never say never, you know. We can't really make this any worse than it is now, so let's see if we can make it better than it is. So a bit of isopropyl alcohol here. Okay. Let's clean the flux off it. A bit of kitchen roll. This is what sometimes happens when the thing's been hit with enough force to actually shove the whole thing backwards. This is what sort of happens quite often, and it makes your life difficult. So we need to see if we can get these things to straighten up. If we straighten them up, once we've soldered the new connector, it should all hold in place quite well. The question is can we straighten these up sufficiently to get it to work? I'm now going to look straight directly through the microscope. It's much easier for me to do this sort of work when I'm through. That's not easy. This one's bent backwards. Come on, there you go, baby. Okay, that one's in place. Let's see, this one's bent over. This one's probably just, yeah, that one's gone. That one's gone. Let's see what it was. It may be, depending on which pin it is, there's a lot of grounds here, and if that's one of the grounds, it probably isn't a problem. If I can get the HDMI to fix back here, it'll be okay anyway. That one's close enough not to worry about it. This one's quite bad. That's back. That's pretty much back in place, and it's not shortening as the other one. Okay. That one's okay. That's definitely okay now. That's in good position. This one's okay. It's close. It's a bit bent, but it's close enough. Next one. Yeah. Next one. Okay. Right. Okay. 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 That's okay. That one's okay. Okay. They're not exactly straight, but that, considering what we had to work with there, that's not bad at all. Yeah, so let's get some focus on this one. You have a look. So they're not perfectly straight, but they're straight enough, and they're not touching each other. But we've lost one there, yeah, which is the fourth one in. That's not a ground. Look, that's not a ground. That's an important one. What you've got here, can you see these little things here? These are transformers. Oh, also we seem to have a blob of solder got back here. We need to just to check that to make sure that's not something shorting. Let's see if we can tilt it and focus it. I'll clean that off. Don't like look at that very much. I don't even need to look up the data sheets to see what was what. You can see straight away this end one, the first one, it's got a thin track coming here underneath a slight bit of crap on here, yeah. And that's going to this coil. Then the middle one's ground, then that's going to the coil. There's like 4 channels on HDMI. So the next one is there, the next one's ground, and the next one's there, and this one was one of the signals, and so on. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So those are your data lines. They're what's called differential. So instead of like having, I'll draw it, but instead of having one signal that's like ground, the other one's going high or low, what you actually have is you have a ground in the middle, and when this one goes high, this one goes low at the same time. The next, yeah. So it's the difference between number 1 and number 3 that makes the high, and when there's no difference, it makes the low. If you get a spike of noise or something in the cable, the spike of noise will be on both at the same time. So if this suddenly jumped up to 1 volt on a spike, yeah, but it was a 1, say a signal 1 was also 1, this would now be 2, and this would now be 1 because the spike would be on both of them. So it's called a differential. And it's a way of transmitting signals down long wires, avoiding as much interference as possible. LVDS, low voltage differential signal, and there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and we know that broken one is a data signal. So unless we can fix that, we ain't going to fix it. So what we'll do is we'll find the replacements, yeah, and we're going to put the replacements on the board and have a look to see how far back the pins are. Are they far enough back so I can solder to them? And yes, they are. Look at that. Number 4 from this end is the broken one, yeah? And you can see that the pin on the HDMI connector comes back enough to solder onto this here, yeah? Can you see that? I'm sure you can see it now. Yeah? So, number 4, you can see it clearly down there, the 4th one in, the little track is broken off, so this like pad is broken off at this point, yeah? But the pin comes far enough back. So we can solder this on here, and it's good enough. The only problem is, it's out of line a little bit. And this is difference between different connectors. And the problem with that is that, can we find this again? Here it is. Can you see how the legs are not lining up? You normally find that where you've got one like that was an upside down one. This is not an upside down one. This is the original. Let's clean the crap. Oh, you can even see now, and this wasn't me taking it off the board. Can you see how many of these pins are skewed sideways? That's because all this inside here, all this had pushed backwards. Yeah, the whole thing had pushed backwards, and that's why all those are bent and why they damage the pads on the board. So we kind of now like, well, either we can fix it or we need to find exactly the right type of HDMI connector. I don't trust this one. Looks alright in there, doesn't it? That looks okay, look. Don't look bad. See if we can maybe do better by fitting this one back on. Once we damage, you know, we fix all that damage. So to do that, try it under the microscope. Again, I'm going to go a bit of flux. Yeah. I'm going to try and clean this off with solder braid. I'm going to turn it round, so I can hold the solder braid in my left hand and I'll hold the soldering iron in my right. I'm right-handed, yeah, and I always hold the soldering iron in my right hand, but I've become very, very good at holding tweezers and things like braid in my left hand at the same time. That's just practice. At first, this hand was shaking. You know, if you're right-handed, you'll understand exactly why. And it is a skill, but it's one you can learn. You know, all you do is you do this continually until it works for you. Yeah. You can see all these are bent, and you saw how easy that I unsoldered that. I didn't have to strain to get this off the board, so you can be sure they were already bent. I didn't do that. I know I didn't do that. And you should know me by now on this channel. If I've done something wrong, I'll own up to it and say, you know, I cocked up. But in this case, I didn't. Let's see if we can. I'm going to again look through the microscope rather than watching the screen. I'm going to go and get through the. If this puts you a bit out of focus, I'm sorry. I need to get a sharp focus on this to see what I'm doing. A bit of crap or something on there. See if I can avoid burning my fingers and get rid of whatever that is. Oh, that is the missing trace off the board. You know where that pad was broke. That's the off of it. Let's see if we can straighten these things a bit. Yeah. I have to get them straight enough so they'll fit. I'm hoping that this original one will actually fit straight onto the board properly once we've done this with it. Again, it's just a little bit. This is not impossible. This sort of work. It's fiddly, but you know, you're watching me doing this, so you see that this can be done. Yeah, you need some decent magnification, without a doubt. I think you'd struggle to do this under a USB. Even I struggle to do this watching the screen. I need the stereo vision to do this properly. So you need a binocular. But you can get a reasonably good enough binocular microscope on a stand for like 150 quid, 150 euros, something like that. They're not stupid. Right, these two are soldered together. I can see there's a little bit of solder in the back of there. So let's see if we can not burn my other fingers when I bring the soldering iron in. Just need to. That's it. Yeah, I get a bit of crap. That's it. Bit of solder out of there. Okay. Don't tell me I'm going to break this one. No, I didn't break it. That's good. If you look, there's quite a lot of ground pins on this. That one's broke. That one's gone, yeah. but we can stick it back on the board. And if that's a ground pin, it really isn't necessary. Yeah, I think as getting towards this end, they're even more and more out of place. That's why they're breaking. They pushed so far. No, that's a dead. Okay, it was a nice try, but these at this end are so badly damaged. We're not going to get anywhere with that. Okay, well, what can you say? We tried. Yeah, we tried. We didn't succeed, but we tried. Okay, well, let's have a look at this. So the problem I've got here is much the same. The pins are not lining up correctly. But let's see if we can fix that then. So again, I'll glasses off, I'll get into the microscope. Let me see if I can actually get these into position. I don't know how well focused that is for you. I need to have the focus, sorry. I don't know why this is out of line. Most probably just, you know, a different make of connector, and there's just very slight difference in position. I mean, you got to remember we're talking very small, you know, less than a millimetre, fractions of a millimetre here. I'm actually bending these to just get them to come into place. So if we don't do this, then you're going to have to buy the right type of connector, and finding the actual right type of connector might not be easy. So I think our best chance of fixing this is what I'm doing now. It doesn't matter if they're exactly straight, as long as they're not shorting to the next pad. That's good enough. This is one. I just want to move that one a little bit. There we go. And this one next to it. Okay. Let's give you some focus again. Sorry, really sorry about it, guys. I hope it was good enough. Let's get a look in here now. Let's see what we have. Yeah. So this is the results of my cobbled chop. I was going to say handiwork, but let's be honest. This is the results of me cobbling this together to make it work. So yeah, that looks good. Yeah, nothing shorting. Even this one here. Yeah, it's on the edge of the trace, but it's not shorting. Similar to like the next but one, same sort of thing. That's good enough, you know. That's good enough. Right. Let's nip over to the bench cam again. So there's our connector, yeah? And I've managed to bend the pins enough to get them into position. So what we're going to do is next, we're going to solder the metalwork of this to the board to hold it in place, yeah? And then once again, we will check the alignment of all the pins, and if they're good, we'll solder the pins. So, solder this, not too difficult a job. Obviously flux. Yeah. I'm just going to make sure it's actually sitting flat. It is. So same things before, really. We're going to go get hold of the hot air again. Just give this area of the board a warm. This will help the soldering process. So not enough to melt the solder, just enough to get some heat into this area. Okay, That's nice. Soldering iron. Solder, which I put away. Solder. Yeah. Enough, just leave on there enough, long enough, so the heat goes in and it solders, yeah? I'm not sure that last one's quite got it, let's just give it a bit longer, okay. Okay. So that now is firmly in place, yeah? That's solid, yeah? It's hot, and it's solid. So this is where we now come to solder all the pins. Switch to the right cam rated. Microscope. Focus this up. Okay. There we are. So first thing we're going to do is once again just check that in soldering that, like the metal frame down, these are all still okay, yeah? And they are. They are. I can do this with the big chunky tip, but quite often I use the smaller one, which is the BC1. Yeah, I think we're going to the BC1 now. This is quite fine soldering. So this is the first time you've seen me discard the BC3. I'm just going to cool down on the sponge for a minute. Yeah, cooling that down. Okay, just cool a little bit. Soldering iron's off. Go on, move that a minute. Desk cam again. Yeah, so I'm just cooling the soldering iron. It's switched off because they stay hot for quite a while. They do. So these are all the various tips which I have, and I'm going to find the BC one. This is one of my favourites for this sort of work. D12, there's a BC, T12, BC2, BCM2, BC1. This thing. It has like a chisel shaped tip, if you can see that. But it's a lot finer than the BC3. So let's just take out the old. I'll just use a cloth, yeah. Take out the old one. I once stuck one of these in with my fingers with the soldering iron turned on, yeah. And by the time I'd pushed it into place like that, it had burnt my fingers badly. That's how hot these things, how fast these things get hot. Yeah. Soldering iron back on. Okay. Back to microscope cam, and let's see how much of a mess I'm going to make of soldering this up. Okay. First thing I just want to check, I want to make sure that all these legs are actually sitting directly against the board and they're not like raised up. Easiest way to do that is put something like that on top, yeah? And then just sort of push downwards a little bit, yeah? This is just to make sure that all these are actually flush against the board. Otherwise, if they're not, you'll probably solder them, but it won't last very long. You know, a few insertions of the cable, and you'll break the joint, the solder joint. One last look. Yeah, that looks good. They all look good, yeah. So, how do we solder these? Well, first thing we do is not worry about getting any solder bridges, because if we get any solder bridges, we can soon sort that out. Second thing we do is a BC3. This is the tip I'm going to use, yeah? Which you'll see is bigger than the legs, not much bigger. The third thing we need is very fine solder. So this is the solder I'm going to use, and this is the solder I normally use, yeah? So this one's 0.7 and this is a 0.2, and you need the 0.2, otherwise you just flood it with solder. You just get too much solder in, and there's nothing much you can do about it. Okay, back to the microscope again, and let's do this. This is again where stereo vision for me is so important. Okay, let's try and solder all these legs, but we're not going to worry too much if we actually accidentally get any shorts between the pins, yeah? I'm just literally touching the pin and then dragging backwards, yeah? And there's a bridge, but we don't worry about that. Another bridge, don't worry about that. You'll get when you do this, you'll get solder bridges, and don't worry too much about them, yeah? I'll show you them is how easy it is to fix that. There's a big solder bridge. Another one. Okay. So as I said would happen, we end up with a load of solder bridges. Let's see how well that's focused on the screen so you can see. Yeah. More flux, yeah. Right. This is where we now just bit of solder braid, yeah. Now I'll just get into the microscope myself so I can see what I'm doing. Now we'll start at this end, and basically I'm just going to push this braid with the flat of the soldering iron down, yeah, and I'm going to pull it backwards. Like that one. Sometimes you do that without the braid. Once you remove some of the excess solder, backwards. So hold it down and back, yeah. Hold it down and back, back. Okay. Thought I needed to use a bit of fresh braid at the end there. That's kind of like cleared the crap off, and what you've actually found now is you've actually managed to tin the legs, and you've managed to tin the pads. I can see the ones at the left hand side, the first few, have still got shorts on them, so let's just let's come back in again and just again probably helps if you put a little bit of flux on the braid, yeah. Let's just do these two again. I can see another one. That one's proving to be really awkward. Right, this time. See, the ones that proving to be a bit awkward, I'm just giving them a little bit more heat. I think I still see a little bit down here. Just turn the braid over. I'm pretty sure I can see a little bit more down there. Yeah, got it. I don't see any more. Yeah, maybe A little bit here. Yep. Okay. Okay, I'll just put your glasses back on so I can see whether that's actually in focus for you guys or not. So basically I've managed to clean out most of the, the shorts when I created a few shorts there. That's I've still got one, most of it. Yeah, it looks like there's one down in here. I just got the tip, yeah, in that one, yeah. Okay. Just sometimes if I just clean the end of the tip so there's no solder on the tip. I'm a bit too zoomed in there. Okay. Clean it again. So what I'm actually doing is I'm just like teasing the solder back on each one, yeah? I'll start from this end. So I'm drawing the solder back towards the pin. This is made a bit more difficult obviously because as you know the thing doesn't quite line up exactly, so that obviously makes it a little bit more difficult to do this, but when the pins are all exactly lined up it's a lot better. Okay, so that's kind of like tease the solder back, and once more now I'm just going to add a little bit more solder onto the pad and let it, so I get it to run underneath the pin. Okay, so this time we'll start at this end. I'm now touching the pad back here, yeah? A bit too much on that one. You've got to be patient doing this, but take your time. Just take your time. Take your time, do it right. And you'll get there. Get a little bit more flux on the blade. If you accidentally add a little bit too much, well, you know what to do. Just come back in here and flat onto the blade. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. Then tiny little bit of solder onto the pad and let it run underneath where you want it to go. Okay. That's too much. Try again. Can you see how that runs back? Can you see what it's doing? It's actually going back underneath the pad, yeah? The leg. Chop the end off my solder. Go away a bit of solder. This is why you have to be basically sure that the legs are actually firmly down. I mean, you can get a bit of solder underneath them, but you won't always get a contact. Okay, we need to test that now. We need to be sure now that that actually has a good contact on each one. I've got two ways of doing this. One way I actually use a HDMI cable that's cut in half and has a pin header soldered on a bit of Vero board, and I can actually stick the cable in here and measure from the pin headers down to these pins. The other way though is to just check on the thing itself. I can probably do this without looking down the microscope. So what we want to make sure is that all these legs are soldered and there's no short circuits between them. Let's see if we can put the desk cam on and try a little picture-in-picture thing here. Yeah, to do this we have to put the desk cam below the microscope. There you go. Look. Desk. That's got confused, hasn't it? That's not really what I wanted, was it? That's better. It's a software. It's a matter of getting the thing in the right order. There you go. I've got it at last. I have it at last. Okay. So there you are, yeah. The trusty Fluke multimeter. Okay, let's see what we have. Let's see what we have here. I'm hoping this is working. I've got like a red thing here. I don't know whether this is a problem. Let's just move that there anyway. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do now is measure from the actual pin to the pad, yeah, on each one, and see if I actually have a connection. So I'm on the pad here. I'm on the pin, that's good. Shorted to the next one, no. Have a connection. Short, no. Third one. That's not soldered. I can see that's moving. That's another way about it. If you just touch them, if you get one that moves, that one moves. If you, I don't know why you can see that under the microscope. Let's see if I can show you. The third one. Focus. Zoom in. Okay. Third one along. If I touch it with my meter probe. Can you see that? Yeah. That's moving. That isn't soldered, yeah? Next one's okay. Next one's okay. That's okay. That's moving, yeah? So let's do them as we come. So number 3. There's a few here that are not soldered. Right, okay. Let's fix these because it's not going to work until we fix these. Okay. Again, I'm going to use the microscope myself, looking through the lenses. Clean that off. So number 3 wasn't soldered. I was solder bridge in that one. Okay now. Big solder bridge in that one. Okay. Micro soldering isn't easy, you know. Don't let people kid you. It's easy. I've been doing this about a year or so now, a couple of years, 18 months. This kind of soldering. Maybe I just aren't experienced enough yet, but believe me, it's doable, but it ain't easy. Okay. Hopefully you're actually watching somebody doing this who is showing you that it's not, you know, when these people put these videos on YouTube, they probably practice them, but or that's the one good one they got. I'm just touching all of these to see if any of them are moving. Does that one move? No. They look good now. So double check. Let's make sure we have continuity and we don't have any shorts between any of these. So once again, end of the track to the pin. Good. Next one, no short. Track to pin. Next one isn't short. Track to pin. Next one not short. Good. Next one not short. Good. Next one isn't short. And so on. Is this one good? Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that isn't shorted to it. So I'm checking to the same pin and I'm just going to the next one. No short. That's good. That's not shorted. That's good. That's not shorted. That's good. That's not shorted. Again. This one might be bad. No, it's good. Not shorted. 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 Good. Okay. Okay, guys. We now have a good connection on all the pins there. That's good. Last bit of this, clean it up. So little brush, bit of isopropyl. It's good to do this because if there's any that are not connected to this, will break the connection. Yeah, we'll be able to see after we've cleaned it up that we've got any bad. We're not actually soldered. Sorry, guys. Okay, clean this all up. It's now nice and clean. We can see much better what we have. We can be sure that none of these actually move when we touch them. I'll just put a little bit of sideways pressure on the leg to see whether it's firm. Yeah, it is. If you've got one that isn't soldered, it'll waggle around. Yeah, they're all good. They're all good. All nicely soldered. Okay, so I guess the thing to do now is just let's plug it in and see if it works. See if we get a picture on the HDMI. There we go. Just clear up a bit of space on my desk again. Let's go back over to the desk cam again. We probably don't need the microscope anymore. I'm not sure if that was off the picture in the recording. It's just how I'd move them around. Okay. Tidy up. Get all this bits of crap off the bench. The old connector bin. Okay, that's cleared up pretty well. Soldering iron. Right. Okay. So we don't need to put all this back together to test it. Basically, we can do it on the bench like this. So that's the board. Where's the? Oh yeah, down here. That's the thing. That's the camera. microscope out of the way. That. So we can just quickly see if this is actually working or not, just by putting just a few screws in this, just to hold it together while we check what we have. This is fiddly getting this back down here. I'll probably have to take this off to be able to see if the one's in position. This should just clip off, I think. No, not easily. Okay. Sure, it does clip off. Oh, there you go. There we go. Okay. Just have hold it in place with a couple of screws for now. So I reckon I'm just looking at the timing on this. So this video is about 1 minute, 1 hour 40. I mean, bear in mind that's the time it took me to get it apart and find a suitable HDMI connector and actually get it to fit, because it didn't fit properly. Realistically, you can do one of these in an hour and 15, if you don't have the problems I was having where the thing didn't actually fit properly. So I mean, this job I should probably charging €40, something like that. I mean, I told him it was going to be something like that, 40, 45, probably 45. I mean, it was a bit of a fiddle to do this one, so we have to make. But you know, you could realistically do easily 3 of these in a day, you know, or it's something you can do one evening and you've got £45 or euros in your pocket. So you buy yourself some more test gear. Okay, screw that. So we're in place. I mean, we're far enough in place to actually, so it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, tuner on here. That went in there. That was for the hard drive, which is not fitted. Power came in here. Yeah, front panel came in here. That should be enough to power it up. I don't think we need any more than that. Oh, apart from, of course, power. Power in there. Okay. We've definitely got enough to power this thing up with now. I'll stick that in there. That's the optical out, but we don't really need that. Get this into position so we can get the HDMI cable in. Let's have a look. Let's see. Oh, first thing you're going to notice, the connector sits flat now, not as it was. So that's there. HDMI cable is plugged into my TV, so switch off the. If you'd hear that, that was the desoldering gun. HDMI in there. Yep. Power's on. We're good to go. We're good to go. So plug it in. Set. You can't see this. Well, what I'll do is I'll take a photo on the on my phone, get a little bit of video so you can see what we have. I've just set the screen to HDMI. Let's get the mobile phone. Eh? See what you can see. Okay. Video. Record. So this is my TV up here. We're going to switch it on. Power on. Oh, okay, it's not powering on anymore. Nothing on. Nothing powering on. Nothing powering up. Ah, there's a switch on. There's a, yeah, switched on. No, it's not. Switched on now. Nothing there. Yeah, you see that says boot. I don't know if you can see it. Might just take a little while to actually power up this. There we go. It's a good one. Okay, so that's fixed. Just needs putting back together. HDMI. This is saying something like there's no antenna signal. Yeah, we can see, because obviously I don't have a dish plugged into this. But you can see we have a good picture now. So, in fact, no, you can't see it, can you? You can't see it. Let's have the proof of it, okay? So let's have the proof of this. Okay, play. So there's the TV initially. And then I came down because I said, hang on, I've got nothing, I've got no power. Remember, I went to the front of it. There was nothing on the front, yeah. So we had to then figure out it actually has an on-off switch on the back. Switch that on. Back up to the TV. And then it decided to take enough time, minutes, for me to think, because it wasn't actually working. It says boot on the front. Just waiting for it to come on now. There you go. That's on the HDMI. So yeah, it's fixed. I hope you enjoyed that one. You can do very similar jobs on PlayStations and other games consoles, TVs. A lot of people break HDMI connectors. Depending on where you are, the money you can get for that sort of work. But I would have thought on games consoles you can get £60 or £70 for that sort of work. Okay, this is not quite worth so much, and I'll charge them a bit less. Right guys, that's one completed, something else fixed, and I'll see you on the next video.